us have hobbies, and some of us are truly passionate and really take it to the next level. So Bjorn, you're an avid cyclist. You've cycled all over the world. How many countries have you cycled in? What's the count?
Wow, probably about, I'd say, 20 different countries.
Wow.
If you consider Europe, the ability to cycle between 3 countries in 1 hour as a fair way of clocking up countries.
And so does your cycle go everywhere with you?
It used to go everywhere with me. I try sometimes because I love my bike. Every avid cyclist loves their bike. It's part of themselves. So I used to take it with me, particularly if I was going to one city, like if I'm going to Sydney only or if I'm going to Tokyo only. It was easy to take with me. But recently I've been starting to rent bikes. There are many platforms out there or companies that allow me to go online, choose the bike I want, get it delivered to my hotel, go for a ride, and then just leave it back at the hotel and say, I'm now through an app, I'm ready for you to go and pick it up.
That's amazing. So does the wife come along as well?
Oh, no, God, no. Bike first. No, she says, and she does come along a lot of times with me. Not enough. I wish she would come traveling with me more. But she does say she's the third wheel in this relationship.
Amazing. So on that note, Bjorn, you just mentioned that technology allows you to rent a bike. What's the other spread of digital in your life?
Too much, way too much. Again, ask my wife, ask my children, ask my friends. All of my friends always say when there's a new gadget coming out for bikes, just ask Bjorn or BJ as they call me. He'll have the latest one. Let him test it before we go and do it. What do I have? Look, I have work technology. I have my laptop. I have my iPad. I have a few, I guess all the different applications that we use through work. I have my sporting technology and my personal technology. I love technology on my bike. I love knowing how much power or how little power I'm pushing, how far I'm riding, how fast, how steep I'm climbing up a hill, what the heart rate is. Should I stop before I die? How fast am I going on my snowboard? Get a video of it. They stick the camera on your head. All of that sort of stuff. I just love that sort of technology. I've probably had every running watch, every cycling gadget, every little personal computer going way back to these, I think even the Palm Pilots. I used to buy each one of them as well. And then I just recently went into home automation, so the new connected home, as we renovated our place and actually enjoying the experience for that. I think there's a lot of fun you can do at home. It's not just fun, but it's actually valuable in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. So sitting here, can you turn off the lights at home?
Of course I can. As I can jokingly do sometimes, I say I'm watching you, or I turn on a light one place, they walk over to it, I turn on another light somewhere else and watch people chase around the house. But now I use it for some interesting things. One is just to make sure we save power. We live in a Singapore house and air conditioning runs all the time and it's expensive, and so if there's nobody in there it senses and it switches it off. If I'm out on one of my cycling trips, I want to come home to a cool house, so I make sure that the bedroom air conditioning is switched on automatically but then switches off again, making sure security around the home. You can never be too careful. So we have IP cameras around the home, so a lot of things we can do at home which are valuable, but there are some gimmicks to it as well.
Absolutely. So with so much tech in your life and all around you, Bjorn, I'm sure you've had some experiences in your personal life where you felt this is a wow experience, and I must take this experience back to my customers in my company. So share that experience with us.
Yeah, we think a lot of times about, or sometimes don't think enough about what we use as a consumer and how that translates into the work environment. And everyone talks today about the consumerization of IT, how iPads and smartphones have suddenly moved into the work environment. But so some examples that are really helpful for us, probably things such as messaging groups, WhatsApp groups, so that we always used to do with our friends. Now we do at work with my own team, we do with a company, we can even do with customers. The ability just to be able to quickly share information in a broadcast fashion without having to wait to see if, or send an email and do it and type long kind of hello, nice to see you, thank you very much, just quickly share information. So that's one area that's really helped. And our China team's now communicating with customers that way as well.
Wonderful. So you are using social platforms to communicate with customers. That's
Correct.
amazing.
Yep.
That's an amazing example. So this is about the good part of technology. What about the not so good part? Have you had some not so good experiences and felt that this is something I must avoid or not make sure that my customers don't have to deal with it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think social media means we're always on. Mobile phones means we're always on. Instant messaging means people expect a response instantly. And I think sometimes that's a danger, that we over communicate. We push too much information at people. We expect them to be always available. I get a message on WhatsApp that says, "Hey, you haven't responded to me yet," or "Hey, are you there? Why aren't you responding?" Well, I choose not to sometimes. I want to sit with someone like you and talk face to face, or I want to have a drink with somebody, or I'm actually in a meeting.
Right.
There's nothing worse than watching people in a meeting and everybody's heads down. You know they're not listening. They're texting to somebody. They're elsewhere. They're not present.
Right.
And I think that's one of the big dangers, that we tend not to be present. And we expect people to be on. We expect everybody to be aware of everything we do. We copy everybody on everything. And I think that's an area we really got to look at, is the danger with the whole medium of technology allows it so easy to share information. But does everybody need to know everything?
Absolutely.
Can they retain it? Can they make value out of it?
Absolutely. Like we were talking, right? Deaths by notification. Sometimes there's just so many of them. You don't know what to focus on. And the message gets lost so many times. Absolutely. So with so much technology everywhere, Bjorn, automation is everywhere. It's impacting jobs. It's impacting skills. It's impacting even seasoned professionals like yourself. How do you keep pace with such change?
I call myself an old dog, really. How do you teach an old dog new tricks? So look, I always think, you always got to be abreast of the technology. You can't be frightened of it. But technology replaces a lot of things that people were known as being good in their job for. Some go to Bob; he knows everything about this. He can remember all the customer history, etc. And so, through CRM, through any type of technology, whether it's Evernote, etc., you can record notes of everything, find it easily. So that the role has to change from being the person who can remember everything to the person who knows how to deal better with customers, and even deal better with people. And so I see my role is leading from the front, being visible, being a coach, being a mentor, inspiring people, rather than being the guy who sends out emails, walking around talking to people, understanding what's going on in the office. I always do it management by walking around. I make a point of every morning walking a long way around to my desk and walking back around to the kitchen to have a coffee, talk to people, find out. And I think that's an area that we neglect at times or under focus on, is really the human engagement. And that's a role that I think everyone has to focus a little bit more on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say this, Bjorn, I see you on Facebook, I see you on Twitter, and I'm amazed at how quickly you've taken up to these technologies. A lot of CEOs, CXOs I see, they tend to outsource this to an agency sometimes, many times. And it's just amazing to see you so hands-on with these tech. Absolutely.
But it's actually, and so you have to be authentic. And one time in my career, I did outsource Twitter and LinkedIn to an agency. And I looked at it and I said, I don't write like that. I don't talk like that. I can't be authentic about it. So I think there's always a danger of how do you keep modern. And so Facebook, as we've talked about before, is personal. And I like sharing where I am. I have friends all around the world through work and other environments. I have family who's in Australia, who's in Singapore. How do I keep them updated what I'm doing? Facebook's wonderful for that. So that's quite natural. LinkedIn, again, you're sharing what's happening. So there's tools like that. But I think giving it to somebody else just isn't authentic. People today crave authenticity. I think, as we talked about previously on social media, there's too much sharing of other people's contents, not your own views. And by the way, I have a lot of friends who are CEOs who are posting on information, etc. So I think it's just a mindset to say that it's not about portraying something you're not, it's about portraying yourself.
Absolutely. And being comfortable with it.
And being comfortable.
Absolutely.
It's easy. You can almost post from my watch soon. I'm hoping to.
That's a lot of digital.
Yeah.
So, Bjorn, with so much tech and digital in your life, is there something you miss about the old world?
Yeah, there's always things that you miss about it. The older you get, the more you want to go back and relive your youth. You want to go and see the bands and the rock bands that were playing in the 70s or the 80s. You want to remember sitting on the back of the school bus with the cassette tape and doing all those things. So what do I miss? Two things. I still miss face-to-face sitting down with people. A lot of my friends are, as I said, they were all over the world because of their jobs have moved, and so you cherish the times when you can sit down face to face and with your family, and just you miss seeing them and being home all the time. The other thing I miss is just sometimes music and listening to an old vinyl record, because that's about listening. Today we get Spotify or Apple Music or any of these things, and we tick, tick, tick to the next song. We listen to 30 seconds. Oh, what about this one, the next song? And I do that all the time if I've got my app in front of me. But as you go to vinyl, for example, you sit down and you put it on and you listen to the whole thing. And there's songs you like and there's songs you say they're okay, but you listen to the whole thing, and actually gave you a chance to chill out, think a little bit more about life, rather than just next app, next app, next app, next post, etc. So that'd be the two things: sitting face to face with people, maybe with a good glass of red wine, and secondly, just listening to music is kind of in the way it should be listened to.
Absolutely amazing. And what we were discussing the other day, right? It's become a rarity. You'll be sitting with a group of people around the table, and they'll all be on their phones and probably talking to each other, but not talking face to face.
That's the worst thing, when people are in a group, they're talking to each other and sending messages. But, sometimes I honestly think we should put phones, have a phone-free zone when we go out with friends.
Sure.
Or disable everything but the camera. I do love pictures. I am a bit of a picture freak, that probably every day I take 20, maybe 25 photos, particularly when I travel somewhere. I try at the end of each year to put together a 100-page photo book of snapshots.
Oh, wonderful.
But turn off messaging, turn off emails, turn off phone calls, and just record pictures, record the moment.
Oh, but then we'd miss all the posts from you on Facebook.
Oh, you can get them 2 hours later. I'm sure you can wait 2 hours for my Facebook post.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Bjorn. It's been great. And viewers, thank you so much for watching. If you have any more questions for Bjorn, or if you'd like to have someone else on the panel here and find out how they deal with digital, drop us an email at connect@greyhoundgroup.com or tweet to us Group, and we'll have them on board. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Bjorn.
Thank you.